be
I could.
7, 2, 9, 1.
It's 1 in the fucking morning. Where am I?
Good start. And welcome back. We got Tyler here,
Howdy.
Elijah, Peter, and for Halloween, our resident horror expert, me.
Hey.
That's that guy.
Hi, me.
I'm always here. All right. So, it's Halloween, talking about horror. And so I got a interesting icebreaker here, as always.
All right.
Where do I come up with these? Who knows? Probably in the garbage.
Late at
Deep
night.
recesses of your brain.
It's a deep, dark place you don't ever want to go to. So, here's my ice question, as it's titled on my notes. What is the best horror monster or villain? Either scariest or just the one you think's the best.
I have no clue.
Come on, Ty. We'll start with Elijah. He looks pensive. He's deep in thought.
I think that some of the best villains aren't actually villains at all. They just happen to deal with fate. And they happen to deal with the mental processes and insanity that some characters go into.
For
So
sure.
it's all in their head, and that, sometimes, isn't exactly a villain
No, what is
or
the best
antagonist,
monster?
But what is the best,
The best
monster?
legit villain? Just
Yeah.
pick one. We'll get back to this. I like where it's going.
I say Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster.
It's pretty solid.
It is pretty solid. I feel like they should make a modern version of that and make it really accurate to the book.
They
And I think
have
it could
one.
be really good.
They
Do they?
have one. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, when that come out?
I don't know, but it's pretty accurate.
Was it?
It has Robert De Niro in
Oh,
Is that the guy who played Willy Wonka?
No.
no.
That's Gene Wilder.
Yeah, that's true.
Robert De Niro was he's in a lot of mob films.
Oh.
He was in
And-
Raging Bull and Taxi
and-
Driver.
it. And terrible comedies.
Yeah.
No.
He was in Casino.
He was in Midnight Run.
Yeah, he was.
You have just listed all of those. Don't even know.
Goodfellas.
Nope.
All right.
Alright.
Who's going next?
Or I'd say the Alien.
Alien?
Yeah.
Ian's pretty
Well,
Like
I
the
mean-
xenomorph?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
There's either you or me.
Best horror villains?
Yeah.
We're up there. I'm number 1.
No, you go first or I go first.
Let's go with you first.
Great. The only thing that pops into my head is the Babadook.
It was interesting.
It was interesting.
There's an interesting creature there.
I have no idea
Yeah?
what I'm doing.
Alright.
I mean, I would say a human.
Just any human.
Any human. Like,
Just pick one off the street.
I mean, I kinda,
Galbatorix from Oregon.
yeah, I kind of agree with Tyler, though, that sometimes humans make the best monsters
Oh, for sure.
because sometimes they can just be monstrous. Even in real life, not just in fiction.
Both my picks are human. Well, questionable.
Humanish.
Questionable. Humanoid.
Yeah, people like Hannibal Lecter, someone like that, who are just so messed up and broken that it's impossible to get them back to be regular people.
I agree. Alright, you ready for my picks?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Number 1, I had to go with Art the Clown
Art the Clown.
from Terrifier and All Hallows Eve. Because he's creepy as Have you seen this guy?
No.
Let me show you a picture.
I've never seen either of those movies.
All Hallows Eve's pretty horrible, but Terrifier was alright. Look at this guy.
Oh, it's that guy. I know that
He's
guy.
the guy on the bicycle that I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the way he's portrayed is
That's
really.
on Netflix, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's really messed up. Because he's
I need to watch that.
you want to laugh at him, but he's like cutting people in half, you know? And so you're like, maybe not.
I can't rightly laugh at this.
Well, I could, but I'd rather not. And then second runner-up was Leatherface, and just kind of the whole family, because they're really messed up.
What the other guy?
What about the?
The hitchhiker and the gas station guy. That's what they're credited as in the credits.
Oof.
And Grandpa.
What
Grandpa.
about
Go, Grandpa.
the black goat?
Ooh, yeah.
Bill.
Black Phillip.
Yeah, Philip.
from The Witch.
Good old Philip.
For the beach.
He's basically Satan.
He is Satan.
It's Lucifer.
All right. That was a good introduction there. I woke you all up. All right. What to go to next? Who knows? You never know. Let's go with best of horror. Now this, as we do, we got 3 topics to cover: film, book, and songs, and horror songs, real things. So, anyone
I
ready to
haven't
kick
read
it
any
off?
horror books.
Have you heard any horror songs? Have you seen any horror films?
I listen to the No Sleep
The most horrifying song is probably "Daddy"
That's
by
true.
Korn.
I agree. It's up there. Or Kim.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of any like horrifying songs.
Kim. Eminem.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Alright. I'll start with films, because that's the easiest. it just is. Let's be honest.
I haven't read any horror books.
Really?
Yeah,
You gotta work on that.
I know.
Work on that. Alright. Here's I'll give you a top 10 of the best horror films, and you should listen to me, because I'm important. Number 1. Now keep in mind, I haven't seen all the horror films ever made. Like, I still got a significant amount on my list. The Exorcist is on my watch later, which
Seen that yet?
which proves I haven't like gotten to it. I saw like half of it. So 1, The Innocents. 2, Brain Dead. 3, House. 4, Under the Skin. 5, American Werewolf in London. 6, Scream. 7, The Thing. 8, Psycho. 9, Freaks. And 10, The Evil Dead.
The Human Centipede was weird.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Was it weird? First or
It
second?
wasn't. Just the first.
Okay.
I don't
Good choice.
want to watch the second.
Second's really stupid.
So was the first one.
Yeah, but it's more stupid. There's less purpose.
Stupider.
So, that's my picks there for the 10
Do we have
best.
to do a list too?
You don't have to do a list, just kind of whatever comes to your mind. I just happen to have a list.
The Human Centipede. Babadook.
Are these favorites?
No, it's just what comes to mind. The Conjuring. I like that one. It was
Still haven't seen it.
interesting.
What was interesting about it?
Oh, I was talking about the movie It.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the new one or the old one? 'Cause I
didn't see the old one.
I have the old one.
You saw the new one?
Yeah.
The new one was
It was
alright.
actually pretty good.
It surprised me on how good it was.
I think
It wasn't great.
The Shining is probably for me
That's on my watch
the
list.
scariest.
I got The Shining at 13 on my list. So it's up there.
How long is your list?
Let's see. As of now, 23.
Why you spend so much time on this?
I get bored. I get very bored.
Nice.
But not enough time.
Elijah,
to
what do you think?
Well, to me, I think some of the scariest moments in films, they don't really come down to horror films themselves,
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
but rather different moments in films that could potentially happen to anyone at any time. So there's this really good
don't
film.
bring it up.
There's this really good film called Bella, and it's not a horror film at all. It's like a super sad and redemptive story about this soccer player who accidentally kills this little girl in a car accident, and then his journey with God to kind of like get back on his feet, and like the scene where the girl gets hit and then the mother's reaction afterward, that just like scared the shit out of me. It was like,
see that.
and it was extremely also emotionally impacting because it just seemed like you were robbed of something, right?
Yeah.
And it was just that gut and stomach churning like feeling that honestly in some horror movies I don't even get at all.
Yeah.
Like you know, and then a lot of the modern horror films, like especially gore driven films, I feel like they aren't there to frighten you but just disgust you.
At times they can just be to entertain you. Things like Final Destination, what
Right,
Saw
and it
became.
ends up being like stupid.
It's like action films.
Right, it's like
almost.
action films like on steroids or something. But that's kind of what I feel like some of the scariest moments in film are. Not necessarily like a particular film, although some do a good job of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of them don't, in my opinion.
Have you guys seen A Quiet Place?
I have.
Nope. I do know it's way too high on Rotten Tomatoes best horror films, though, and it makes me upset.
I'm not surprised about that. Well, I am surprised about that
It's
because
number one.
is it?
Wait, what?
It's not even a horror film. It's a thriller.
Wait,
A
what is?
Quiet.
Get
A
Out.
Quiet Place.
No, Get Out was number one.
Oh, Get
Oh,
Out. I haven't seen
really?
Get Out.
What's that?
Get Out.
It's a.
I haven't seen it, but
Surprising.
I'm just kind of interested it was at number one.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of really good things about it.
I've heard it was
But,
good, but
Yeah.
you really, I don't know. It's questionable.
No idea.
Who knows, man?
Who knows?
Not me.
Clearly.
Peter?
All right, Peter.
What are we talking about now?
Your favorite horror films?
My favorite horror films?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Scooby-Doo the movie and Scooby-Doo 2 the movie. Definitely up there.
Whoa.
Those are frightening.
It goes without
course.
saying.
Of course.
It's implied.
Alien is definitely on there for me, at least.
Interesting.
Alien's a good one. Yeah, that was
I like that
creepy.
movie.
Yeah, because just the way that it really
Suspense,
builds
yeah.
suspense. And the chest burster scene.
It's
too.
iconic.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
The Shining, as I said, is on there.
Do you
I
prefer
don't
the
know,
book
I
or
don't
the film?
I don't watch a lot of horror, so
Do you
and I
pref-
don't read a lot of horror either. But
Book or film for Shining?
book,
Good choice.
yeah,
Good choice.
obviously.
The
It's
books
just-
are generally better.
I was just making sure.
Yeah.
you know? You never know. These kids.
And then
Pen pal.
scariest.
I've technically read that. I mean, I heard it
That
being
counts.
read.
That counts.
I really like that. That was.
Can you not interrupt?
Sorry.
we'll
It just
co-
popped into my head.
We'll come back.
I was just gonna say scariest books
Books.
are It and
It's scary because of how much a pedophile Stephen King is.
pretty much actually. It's not. It's a problem. Just like
It's his fantasies.
he wrote.
This is rock and roll fantasies.
I mean, if we're talking about Stephen King being a pedophile, he wrote a
Mr.
scene-
Mercedes.
He wrote a child sex scene in a sewer.
Yep. That's it.
Like, what the fuck?
Kids
I,
these
th-
days.
I thought you were gonna go to Mr. Mercedes there.
Well, that too. I don't know if that makes him a pedophile.
That's just like,
Fucking weird.
yeah. Or the Pet Cemetery scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in Stephen King.
Yeah, so that's probably the scariest book for me.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. Or
Any-
House of Leaves.
For sure. For sure. Anyone else got anything? Because I'm gonna
Gotta
start.
move on.
I'm
That's it,
gonna
that's
start vomiting about
Okay.
these.
About horror.
Yeah, I gotta finish my list. We were at 10, and then I gotta talk about all of them.
All right.
It'll be great. 11, Carnival of Souls. 12, Nosferatu. 13, The Shining. 14, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Not The Nightmare on Elm Street.
There's a big
Oh, I
difference.
forgot about those. I saw those when I was like 8.
Yeah, pretty solid. 15, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. 16, Repulsion. 17, Halloween. 18, Eraserhead.
I forgot Halloween.
Yeah, me
19, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
too. Not A.
Not A,
B.
The. 20, Eyes Without a Face. 21, The Witch. Made it pretty high. 22, Shudder. And 23, I really enjoyed Halloween 3, even
So
though it was pretty stupid.
So wait, you just updated this list tonight?
Just now, yeah. I'm going
Way to go
non-stop.
on the spot.
I speed through these things. Y'all should definitely watch House. That would be funny.
House?
That would be really funny.
What is it
It's-
about?
I'll fall asleep to it tonight.
It's there's a scene where a girl gets eaten by a piano.
That'll be great.
that
That
sounds
sounds
really
like a
enjoyable.
party.
I think that's
And
all you
then
need to
does he
know.
light it on fire?
Nice.
No,
nice.
it's not Jerry Lee Lewis, but you know.
Does it play the entertainer while it's eating her?
Oh,
No,
Aw.
Dylan.
they missed that.
I saw Chuck Berry CD at Barnes & Noble
Did you really?
yesterday.
Which one?
I think
Chuck
it's just
Berry on top?
greatest hits, I
Because
think.
I love that album. It's so funny. It's a funny title. It's like a shake with a right. Anyways,
I think it was just Chuck Berry greatest hits.
that's
Yeah.
that's pretty good too. I'm not gonna lie. Under the Skin is weird. American Werewolf in London
Under the Skin is.
is fantastic. It's a
Oh, wait,
fantastic
what?
film.
American
Werewolf in
I
London.
love that movie.
It's good. Scream, best slasher. Fight me. Easily best
I've
slasher.
never seen it.
The best slasher. Thing, best body horror.
Body horror.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Psycho, it's a classic.
Yeah.
What else
Second
can be
best
said?
slasher.
Right. It's,
Second best slasher for sure, yeah. Freaks, Doug told me to watch that. It was pretty solid. I enjoyed it.
What genre is that of horror?
I don't even know, man. It was like 1932, almost silent film horror. Evil Dead is a classic.
Evil Dead is-
Although I still haven't seen the second or Army of Darkness, so
Yeah.
maybe the second will beat the first. Who knows? That's what everyone says.
Really?
Literally everyone. So I don't know. Carnival of Souls is horrifying. Nosferatu is pretty creepy.
What is Carnival of Souls?
It's about
A haunted theme park ride?
a lady who gets in a car accident and then starts fading in and out of reality
Oh.
and is followed by a weird man.
Oh.
Me.
it sounds pretty good.
It's not you, actually. You would think it's you, but
But it's actually Dylan.
yeah, it's me. I'm the man. All right,
Next question.
hold on. I have to talk about favorite books first, Tyler.
Jeez.
You just-
Resident horror expert, please, Tyler. Please.
Oh, best favorite horror video games too.
Oh. Outlast. Yes, please.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Is it?
Outlast.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, dude.
Outlast is fun.
I like leaving, like when you go out the window and then you just leave before the game starts. That's what I do every single time.
nice.
So much fun. Anyways, favorite horror books: House of Leaves, Pen Pal Insomnia.
That's it.
Off the top of my head, yeah, that's it. Turn of the Screw. That's all. That's about it. I'm sure there's more, but
Well, probably.
who knows? All right. Now I get that big umbrella question that slides us into everything else. You ready?
Yeah.
What is it that makes something scary? It's the big boy.
Jump scares. Jump scares.
Jump stairs.
Jump scares are
No.
they
No.
can be scary.
No.
It's shock horror.
If done correctly,
Yeah.
and
The
if
Nun.
used
No, not the nun.
and if used in the proper amount, then they'll be scary. But if it's something like the Nun, where every aspect of it is a jump scare, it's not very scary.
Yeah.
Jump scares usually don't get me.
Yeah, exactly, because they're overused.
Well, because you feel the best jump scare is when it's not expected, right? It's
Right.
when Because these modern films, they build up, and you know, you got your
And then
strings
there's a jump
going,
scare.
and it's like boom, 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 and then there's like silence for 2 seconds, everything's black, and there's like, rah!
Yeah.
You're like, wow,
A good film.
never would have guessed.
Pennywise.
A good film would have the silence for 2 seconds and then not have a jump scare.
Yeah, at times.
Yeah.
And like when it's out of nowhere, you know,
Mm.
I'm trying to. I'll think of a good example. Clowns, no. We just watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Perfect example when Kirk walks in the house and out of nowhere comes Leatherface with a hammer and smashes his skull in.
Yeah.
So that's a good jump scare.
And then they used it again.
Yeah.
The same jump scare.
Yeah. But you know,
Limited budget.
he didn't smash the face in the second time. Though.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a meat hook.
Yeah, he did.
So not jump scares is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What makes something scary?
I guess
That's what
that-
makes something not scary.
I think a lot of the times it's like the unknown.
For sure.
Like, for example, Alien. I'm going to just use that as an example. Like, you don't really see it. You only see it about, like, maybe once or twice throughout the whole film. And it's that makes it scary. Because you don't know what it is.
Yeah. You don't say it, you don't think it. Sorry, I had to go.
I feel like it's the same thing with the Babadook.
Babadook was pretty solid. Actually, shoot, it's on my list. It's just under things I need to watch because I didn't enjoy it that much.
Maybe I'll have a changed perspective.
Maybe. After I watch The Exorcist all the way through, I'll be like, oh my god, the Babadook looks great. I'm sure. I'm ready. Elijah, thoughts? You're the insightful one.
Yeah, I feel like there's a huge difference between suspense and horror.
And even thriller, for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of today's modern media, maybe not books. I feel like books are more horror driven than suspense driven. Like
They can be.
Like, yeah, they can be. And, you know, every horror thing has, like, it's already suspense and then build up and then the actual horror.
Yeah, the payoff.
But I feel like a lot of the horror today isn't very well executed in the way that it wants to. I feel like where horror comes from in those movies is the suspense itself or different elements around that. So like different things that can disturb like the inner spirits or like morality of a person, and can sort of shock people to the point of speechlessness or to the point of looking away, getting up, getting out of the theater sort of thing. And you know, that's you know where you have to kind of make a sacrifice. Do you want people to watch your film or be so disturbed that they can't? And I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I don't want people to, you know, I don't want to lose money on this, and then they won't go as far as they
they've become
would to disturb people. And I feel like then people become sort of used to the same old shtick.
Yeah, they're
and you have to-
desensitized.
right, and you have to find something else. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on in some modern horror. And, you know, you can kind of see it throughout the years. If you watch horror films from a long time ago, you're like, this is nothing. And then you watch, and then even, you know, I'll watch something from today, and I'm like, that's not really anything either.
Yeah.
You know, it's more like spiritually deadening, dealing with demons and certain things. And I feel like, you know, those can be, like, real threats and really scary for someone who hasn't experienced something like that before. But other than that, people may just become bored with it, and the suspense may still be there. It's just that at the end you're like,
You see, it's interesting how horror started, because it started as so like crazy grandiose. You know, you got your Draculas, you got your Frankenstein, all those like Nosferatu, Caligari, and you look back on those and you go, well, those aren't really scary because of how desensitized we become.
right.
You look at how it evolves, it's always pushing the next barrier. You know, how much gore can we throw in? How much nudity can we throw in?
Right.
How much nonsense? And it's just,
Ain't nothing scary about nudity.
Right.
if it's a man.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like in order to scare an audience, you have to have an incredible team or an incredible ability to write and to paint a picture and put the reader or watcher in a situation that is more realistic than something like, you know, you're trapped in a room and you have to crush your body in order to escape crap, right? I feel like
There's so many Saw disses coming.
right? And I feel like, you know, if people start making like school shooter films or like,
Oh my god.
you know, like stuff like that, I feel like if they're done right, they can be absolutely horrifying.
Sure.
But if not, then they just become sort of cheesy. Because like even today's culture is desensitized with that,
For sure, yeah.
unless you've personally experienced it, or you know stuff like terrorist attacks and stuff like that. Like those are horrifying things, especially for people in the midst of it, or even something like a car crash as basic as that. Just
Yeah.
like the sudden death of people or the sudden injury of people.
Carnival Souls.
And, you know, that can be truly horrifying with little to no suspense until the actual moment. But it has to be done right.
Yeah.
And I've said that multiple times.
I agree with your point. I think it's pretty interesting how it's evolved from just always trying to up the ante until the point where the ante is too high and it's nonsense. Saw.
The Holy Mountain.
I warned you, so many Saw disses were coming. Tyler, you have anything else to contribute?
I mean, I feel like, yeah, it does need to relate to real life. Like, I mean, you have to have it relatable. And some...
Relatable.
Shut up. Shut up.
I didn't say anything. I just said relatable.
No, I agree with both of you. I always found that the scariest, either books or films or whatever, even like folk stories, like, you know, the one with like the hook on the side of the car or the headlights from behind with the guy in the back seat. Like, if the more realism there is, I've always found it more scary because it's like that could happen, you know, whereas you watch
Based on a true story.
yeah, something like that. Whereas you watch like, oh, I don't know, Saw, and you're like, wow, I'm never gonna be trapped in a room by a little puppet who wants me to cut my hand off.
Or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. Like, I feel like that's never gonna happen to anyone.
Well, it's combined from 3 true stories though, so you got to
It's
take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, if it
It's-
could personally happen to you,
It's not.
it
could.
more scary.
It could.
I'm not.
I'm
dumb
not
enough
saying
to-
that.
to-
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, of course. And that's why there's always that ignorant side of the horror equation. But
And
yeah,
I'm not in a wheelchair. So.
that's true. So you're set. Yeah, but if it could happen for real, for the most part, I think it really improves the horror. Just because it's not so displaced from reality that you're just like, oh, I'm watching a film, or oh, I'm reading a book. You're like, uh-oh, this person just got
Immersion.
stabbed, or yeah,
right.
you know, something like that.
Immersion.
All right, now that we know what makes something scary, what are the scariest contents of all time? Films, books, and songs. I'm still waiting for someone to bring up, you know, Rock Lobster by B-52. Just saying. The Monster Mash?
The monster.
Where's it at? That was a
Truly,
joke.
truly
Flying.
horrifying.
Don't actually listen to this.
Flying purple people. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
those-
up there.
those are the worst.
That's the tip top.
Can't even make it.
So, Tyler, you want to start us off?
Not really.
What do you mean, like the scariest?
You wanna start us
like,
off? What films, books, songs do you
out
think are the scariest of all that
Yeah,
affect
if you were
you
to
most?
put them into one category.
Yeah.
Question.
It's a deep question.
So like out of all those categories, which ones?
Oh, just all of them. Yeah, like what are the scariest of films? What are the scariest of books? What are the scariest of songs? So on, so forth.
Didn't we already kind of talk about
No, we talked about favorites. Now we're talking about
Oh, like just
what-
best.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Disturbed kind of falls along with Scared,
Mm.
I think. But, that's
No, I agree.
whatever you think. I'm not.
Dylan, maybe you could start us off this time.
Alright, I will then. I'd like to talk about songs, because I don't know why. I feel like
That's
it.
fair.
So when I asked this question, first thing that came to my head was Riders on the Storm. It's just got a weird vibe to it. It's
By
about
the Doors.
Yeah, the Doors. It's about picking up a killer on the road as a hitchhiker who like kills you. So
Basically, takes
almost. But it's a very odd song. His head is squirming like a toad. It's got weird words in it. Just puts you off. And so I think that's interesting. You got something to say, Tyler?
I remembered something that I really liked.
What'd you
That I-
like?
Okay, so it was from the No Sleep podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
And it was basically this story about how this girl was sent to hell or something, and basically the demon attending her was like trying to put her in a place where she would spend eternity.
Sure.
And there were doors, and she was moving along from place to place to place, not picking or choosing any of them. But finally, she comes to this one door, and inside, it's basically a quote-unquote birthday party, but like the cake is made out of like fingers and eyeballs and all this other stuff, and like there are demons like chasing around all the people that have chosen to be in the room, and it's the person who reads the story gives it so much more glory than I can, but like
It was probably me. My luxurious voice.
but that's up there. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was fucked up.
What was it called?
I don't remember.
Nice.
the birthday party.
It was
The birthday party
it was called,
door.
It was called Happy Birthday.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember who it was written by though. I could probably find it, but
Sounds like a creepypasta. It does.
I mean it was a horror story, a horror short,
Yeah, that's why it sounds like. That's what a creepypasta is, essentially.
but it's not a creepypasta.
I just
He's just saying it
It
sounds
like
it could
one.
be
Okay. Anyways, scariest book I ever read, Pen Pal, easy. And it's the reality thing, You got your ghost, whatever, but this is just about a kid who throws a letter into the air, and it's founded by some creepy stalker guy, and he stalks him as a kid, and like kills off his friends and stuff. And then
Yeah.
it ends very poorly.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
But
That was
yeah,
a good one. I really enjoyed that.
that was easily scariest. It's very closely tied though with House of Leaves, which isn't really realistic.
Was it written by the same people?
Oh no, House of Leaves is Mark Danielewski,
Pen pals.
How are
and
they
Pen Pal
connected?
is Dathan Auerbach. Oh, it's just me connecting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, House of Leaves is not really realistic, but there's something about it. Again, it's kind of with the unknown and the just very slightly off to be unnerving. I think that's something we didn't really talk about. But I think that's for sure a big thing. Like,
Something's wrong, but you don't know what.
yeah, like, okay, so if you don't know House of Leaves, it's about, it starts, and this is going to sound stupid, but for whatever reason, it's so
It's kinda
disturbing to me. There's a lot going in, because it's a frame story, so
Yeah.
you got this guy who's like running a tattoo shop who finds a book that contains records of someone's family, which contains a specific record called the Navin Davidson record. But anyways, that's what matters. The rest of the book is like weird.
Yeah.
But inside that record, it's about a family that moves to a new house, and basically he's outside one day, like tape measuring the house, and measuring.
Measure.
And
Salty.
but like the outside's like 10 feet or whatever, and then he goes in to do his measurements on the inside, and it's like 10.2 feet on the inside, and then it's just like slightly off, and you can feel something's wrong. And if he's as bananas as but then like the next day there's a hallway in the house that they never saw before. And when you walk through it, you just get this like cold, empty, like dead feeling.
Normal.
And then like in the inside, and then days go on, inside of the house there becomes this like long black hallway. And then it goes into this maze that goes down a labyrinth, and it goes like so out of nowhere weird.
But the house looks the same.
Yeah, the house is like the same on the outside, and for whatever reason it's just so upsetting.
Yeah.
Like mentally you can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
That it just messes you up.
Mm-hmm. And there's something in there too.
Yeah, it's like the Minotaur.
Yeah.
Measures. What is wrong with you people? Insomnia wasn't scary. That's just one of my favorites. It was a little scary at parts. With this tiny things that mess you up. The scariest part of it for me,
the balloon,
is I don't think I think it's a mummy at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's got a balloon, and Ben's talking about how the wind's blowing from the left, but the balloon's going the opposite way of the wind. And for whatever reason, it horrifies me. It was like the scariest scene in it. It's upset me so much. And then the like weird child orgies upset me too, but that was like besides the point. Stephen King, as weird as he is, he's got some good stuff. Like Pet Sematary, the end of that was so messed up and creepy. And I would recommend that one.
Yeah.
The Shining was, I wouldn't say super scary, but there's some parts like I think the lawn animals when Danny's outside with the lawn animals, that was pretty creepy. I can't quite.
And the dog costume.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Yeah. That's for books. Anyone else want to jump in, or I'll go to films? Should I just finish it off here? Have I given you ideas?
I got ideas.
I mean, Pen Pal was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Pen Pal's one of my favorites.
I agree with you pretty much on everything.
I mean, the happy birthday thing, like, I really enjoyed that, but it was also super messed up.
Yeah. So what was, I'll get back to the films, but what was scary about that? Was it just how, like, upsetting it was, or just how off it was?
Like, just the image it put in my head.
Yeah.
Like...
It's like the balloon, I'm telling you, man. Scariest thing in that book.
It's like thinking about bamboo shoots under the fingernails.
Ugh.
Yeah,
No,
it's just like, no. It's like that.
I'm trying to sneeze.
Bless you. So it's like gore, almost. Kind of like mental. It's a uneasy feeling that you wouldn't want it to happen to you, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. Alright. Maybe I'll think of something else, but I'm going to jump into films here. Number 1, my opinion, scariest / most disturbing film. We just watched it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In my opinion.
It's just
disturbing. The whole film, I'm always on edge, and it upsets me.
It's disturbing.
The scene where he's got the hammer, I don't like it. It's so messed up. Where he keeps dropping it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that scene. And even as I was talking about the jump scare earlier, like the first one, I think that's really well done. Yeah.
But it's like the only time it's used, really.
Yeah. And it was just, the whole film, I felt, there's just this mood going on that always had you, like, slightly uneasy. Like, everything was just that much off.
Yeah.
And just like everything else I've talked about, the balloons, the house, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you about that. It's just, I feel like they were just thinking, like, How far can we take this?
Almost. I feel like
It could have been.
that was part of it, for sure.
Yeah, they didn't include a lot of gore.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it added, personally.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't really care that they didn't add it because it's still.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's still disturbing.
Because, like, you never...
The beginning, like with the hands.
Yeah.
That
The
was
hands?
weird. Yeah. Like
Yeah, with the
just
flash
flashes
camera.
of the hands.
Oh.
If you guys didn't understand that, I literally just got this watching it with you, like, earlier. I'm pretty sure that's the hitchhiker taking pictures when he's at the graveyard.
Oh.
That's why it was, like, the random flash, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was the one grave robbing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then his dad said, "I told you not to go down to the grave,
Yeah.
to the graveyard."
Yeah.
Towards the end.
So that was interesting. But it's also creepy, again, kind of the realistic thing that that didn't happen.
No.
But, like, pieces and bits of it were thrown together from different things, like Ed Gein, who was also inspired Psycho. So
Yeah.
we'll get there. You know what? Let's just throw that in. Why not? We will.
Creepy pasta.
We will. And we can also get back to Texas Chainsaw if anyone else has something to say, because we all just watched it. Perfect.
No, I don't.
You got your piece in it.
Yeah, It's a disturbing film.
It is.
for sure.
I put it in number
And
one.
it does its job well.
It does.
Of
Just messing
shocking
with
you.
you.
Yeah. We just watched it, and I'm still feeling like queasy from it. Like,
My dad just
It's
had to
just-
leave when he was watching it. He was like, I can't watch
Really?
this. Yeah. So.
and it's just so like that part where where Leatherface is chasing her around.
Yeah.
Like, especially when he's like, they're going up the stairs.
Yeah.
And he's like right behind her with
Yeah.
the chainsaw. It's just.
Yeah. I think it's very well
Like,
done,
yeah.
despite being like
Gross.
way over the top.
Yeah.
Like, why would you make
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
film?
Yep.
For money.
So yeah, probably. But who knows? Actually, it's really funny if you look up. I think it's Tobe Hooper is the guy's name. But he was like, "Yeah, I was making a film for no one, a film that no one would enjoy watching." You're like, "Well, you nailed
What a
it."
legend.
And then it became a classic.
Yeah, and then he ran out of money and didn't get to
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
it.
Whoops.
Oops.
Leatherface just swinging his chainsaw on him.
And it
I
It
just-
love
was like
that ending.
so funny.
I love
dude.
that ending.
I feel like it's an appropriate ending. Though.
It is, though. I feel like it is, yeah. So, 2, for scariest, Under the Skin. It is,
It's about aliens.
it sort of is, but sort of not.
What do you mean?
It's about a alien who dresses up like Scarlett Johansson and seduces random men in Scotland so she can put them in a vat of black tar and then suck their bones out and put them in a machine that processes it. And then
It's really just.
and then the film, like, she discovers her kind of humanity and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And then a guy tries to rape her and he sets her on fire and then she dies and then it's over.
Oh, all right.
And you're like,
What a good film.
all right. But there's some scenes in it that are so just, it's like the bamboo shoots thing. You see this and you're like, no.
Yeah, it's like
It's
when
very,
my knees hurt.
yeah, when your knees hurt, exactly. No, there's some things that were very upsetting in that. Number 3 isn't even a horror film. Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's that?
Thinking that it's about a heroin addiction.
Yeah, it's just.
Let's talk about
nasty.
addiction because it's about heroin, sex addiction, and like antibiotic addiction.
Mhm.
And it tells the story of people who. It's not like true story, but it does a very good job of making you not want to take
It could
heroin
happen
or
to anyone.
antibiotics or stuff.
Anyone can get addicted to drugs.
That's true. And they do it in such a way that's just like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
messed up. I think I showed you the final
Oh,
montage
yeah.
of it. It's very well done.
Yikes.
Like,
Oh yeah, but
Is
it's
it when
like
they're strapped down to that gurney?
yeah,
You showed me that.
that's where it ends.
That
Yeah,
was like a hell of a long time ago, but
yeah. I watched it twice
Stuck with
for
you.
some reason.
Oof.
Because it's just that.
I was
good.
like, yeah, I'm never gonna watch that again. And then I watched it again. And I was like, I should probably never watch this again.
It's just that
Oops.
good.
I did enjoy it. It's good, but now I don't want to watch it again. After twice.
Yeah.
It's like having a second child.
I was like, maybe it's not as bad as I remember. And then I went back, I'm like, yeah, it's as bad as I remember.
It's even worse than I thought.
So, yeah.
Scariest movie ever, Paranormal Activity.
Let's just stop now. So,
I'm going into Saw territory.
Solitaire?
Saw territory.
Saw territory.
We'll get there.
Just
Well,
like
are
how
we
the-
doing worst scary movies too?
Ooh, yeah, sure, why not? Throw them in. So next, for scariest, for me, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because the concept's just... Well, first of all, if you don't know this, it's based on a semi-true story. Not like people come to you in your dreams, but
Yeah.
sporadic, what is it? Instantaneous sleep death disorder? Where you're just
Oh.
sleeping and then you die.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
I.
No,
Whoops.
you're not okay. You're dead.
But like, it's a very kind of primal concept, I think they made up, where it's like, because you have to sleep. It's one of the
Right.
things you have to do. Unfortunately,
If you want to live.
And then you
anyways.
yeah,
Sleep is
But-
supposed to be.
you're supposed to be safe in your
You're
sleep,
supposed to go there to escape from
And
the
so-
world around you.
and it's also inspired by sleep paralysis a little bit, I think, which is kind of interesting.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a messed up film that like gets at you, I think. I got a few more. Next up, Eraserhead. It's just weird. That's all I can say. It's just so freaking
What's
weird.
that about?
Let me read the bio because I cannot explain it. Henry Spencer tries to survive his industrial environment, his angry girlfriend, and the unbearable screams of a newly born mutant child. Not a good description, but I can't do much better.
All right.
It's a David Lynch film. That's all you need to know.
From that description, I feel like I would never watch it. It
It's
just sounds so like random.
it's a bit much. It's a sensory overload for sure. 6, actually Repulsion. You watched part of that with me, but it was messed up.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah. Especially when you look at the story behind it, with like Roman Polanski actually being like a super creep,
Yeah.
and you're like, this is just
Super creep.
no, not Rick James. It's just I think it's just an unsettling kind of idea. Very primal, like the sleep kind of thing.
Yeah.
7, Evil Dead. It was just weird. There was some like weird stuff, like under the fingernail kind of stuff. 8, Carnival of Souls, because of the ending. The ending, man. Ugh. What even happened? I don't know. 9, I actually put The Witch, because it was kind of spooky. When you grind up a child into like
Paste.
strawberry jam, it's a little
It's a bit.
A little close to home.
it's a little close to home.
That's a bit too relatable.
So, did I give you ideas for scariest?
For scary.
Yeah.
I have to think about some more songs as well, so come back to me on the songs. But anyone else got something?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the scariest of all time, like anything,
Yeah.
I don't feel like sometimes it doesn't really come down to media, but rather personal experience.
For sure, yeah, I
And
agree.
I feel like it gets that sort of cringe, stomach upset, like physical reaction out of people,
Yeah.
rather than just a mental reaction. Like it's both mental and physical when it's true horror, and you experience something like that. But I feel like if it's just a mental, like, then it's not as powerful as if you get a physical reaction out of your audience or just out of yourself in a personal experience. Like if especially if people who are afraid of the dark are stuck in the dark,
Oh yeah.
that sort of physical feeling of being isolated and not knowing where you are, it's not natural, right? And that I feel like is true horror rather than you just getting spooked by something on a screen instead.
Yeah, like when people with carpophobia have to go to an old folks home and help out old people.
Dylan doesn't like old
It's
folk.
carpophobia.
It's the fear of veins and loose skin.
Do you have that?
I hate it so much. It's so upsetting. And wrists too. It's awful.
Just
it's
have everybody
horrible.
wear long sleeves.
Yes, I would love that. That'd be my perfect world. That's
you
the
should,
utopia.
You should start the fashion trend of just only long
Only
sleeves
long
all
sleeves?
the time.
I'm ready.
Anybody over the age of 50.
But in going back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I feel like what was disturbing for me was really just the characters and the murderers themselves, because
I agree for
it
sure.
wasn't. There was no doubt in their mind that what they were doing was unnatural, and I feel like that's what goes with a great sort of villain or monster or horror story, is the fact that they are in their mind doing right.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything really, like from the old stuff like Frankenstein's monster. He was like trying to do right and just get even with Victor. He's like, you abandoned me and blah blah blah.
Why'd you bring me to life?
Right. And that goes for stuff like the witch too, because it's what was I talking about?
Kind of the understanding that they're what we perceive as bad, they perceive as the right thing.
That's right. And there's no and the main protagonist can be torn between what the villains see and sort of something like that, and at the end of the witch, the main girl gives in to Satan's temptations, and he makes it sound like it's the right thing to do, and it's
he did offer butter,
normal, right? Exactly. He offered the butter,
Can't
and
turn
she
that down.
went for it, right? Everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, and
Jim Jones. Yes, please.
yeah, and wants to believe that they're right, and no matter what, stick with that. And while that's a very good quality to have, it can be extremely dangerous.
I did, yeah.
And that's what is so horrifying about some of these stories, or even real experiences like Kermit Gosnell. If you read his reports, and even if you see the movie, which I thought was pretty average, but or if you watch some of the actual news reports of him, he thought he was a jolly old guy.
Yeah.
Who thought he did nothing wrong and he was the greatest guy in the world. And that to me is really disturbing. Yeah. And you're just like, who are you? Why? What made you this way? Sort of thing.
Yeah, what made you think you're doing the right thing?
So that's what I think is kind of the scariest of all time, sort of thing. Common themes in that.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So, I had a question. Oh, shoot. I don't know. I'll come back. Tyler?
What was the question?
What is the scariest of any medium for you? And you already gave us some, but I was just wondering if you got anything else. Did pen pal affect you as much as it did me?
I don't think so. I mean, whenever I'm reading or watching or doing anything with really anything, it's just I'm just there. I'm just along for the ride.
As Aiden said, "Wow, Dylan, literally nothing affects you. I feel sorry for you."
I feel sorry for you, Aiden, because you smell like
You smell like ass.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to be put in this situation where I feel like that to really know that it's there.
Yeah. But do you ever watch, I don't know, let me find an example. Say Nightmare on Elm Street, and you think, what if I was there? What would I do? How would this affect me? What would I be thinking? Is that ever?
Well, I mean, the Nightmare on Elm Street,
Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not Nightmare.
I don't know. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 7, 12, whichever one.
There were that many.
There were a lot of nightmares on Elm Street.
Yeah. Elm Street's just a bad place.
Don't go to Elm Street. No, but like
When you're
Like-
walking around.
I was really young when I saw those. I was younger than 10. So like it was like I don't know, I didn't like realize that like most of those things weren't real, so everything felt real. It was like I can't sleep anymore. It's just no more.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, it totally depends on like how young and what you've been exposed to previously. Because I remember going to see a movie in theaters with my dad, and some of the previews. It was like for I think Paranormal Activity 3. That terrified me for weeks.
The
Like-
trailer?
Yeah, literally the trailer, because I was like,
Man, 3 was so
11 or
bad.
something.
They're all bad.
Right, and they were
Okay, the first one was alright. I actually really liked the second one. The third one was horrible.
right, and they, it may not have been that bad of a film, but I had never been exposed to something like that previously, and so
Yeah.
that just freaked me out for like weeks at a time. Just the fact of some sort of other living thing in your house that you
Yeah.
can't control, and you don't want to turn the lights off after that, really.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Jaws for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
I like it, and I think it's really scary.
Did you? So that's one of your picks.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with because
It's realistic.
I saw, it's realistic, but at the time that I watched it for the first time, I was like maybe 6 or so,
Yeah.
and I also at that time had a fear of like the ocean, kind of.
Yeah.
So
I still do.
yeah, I like the ocean, and I like sharks now.
I hate the
But-
ocean. I can't stand it. I hate
Yeah,
sand.
and
It's coarse and it's everywhere.
It's rough.
and you don't see the shark
Yeah.
really.
Mostly.
Yeah, up until the very end again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it builds suspense and tension, So
You don't hate me here, but I really dislike both Alien and Jaws, just personally.
As like whole movies or just horror films?
Whole movies. I've just
Whole
never
movies.
enjoyed them.
that's fine.
I don't know why. Just haven't.
It's fine.
Then again, I don't really like
Maybe
any
not
of
your-
Spielberg's films.
Yeah, it's maybe not your cup of tea, huh? Except for Schindler's List.
Shut up! Don't bring it up! It was 2 in the morning. I was very tired.
Still good.
I don't understand.
That's the only film I've ever
You've
slightly
never
cried
cried
at. At the end when he's like, this pin, there's like 2 more people. You know?
Oh, well.
It was rough.
Dylan was sobbing over there.
There was just like,
You
that
were
like
sobbing?
scene where you just have that single tear run down your cheek.
You
That was
were-
me.
You were sobbing?
No.
No. Then Fletcher from Whiplash comes over. He's like, oh my god. He's one of those single tear people.
There's no Mars bar. There's no fucking Mars bar down there. I forgot what I was going to say, but what were we at? What were we talking about? Before
You
Jaws.
hate-
About Jaws.
You hate Jaws and Alien.
No, before Jaws. I was going to say something.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, we were talking about, how.
Oh
young
shoot!
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
and
There we
like-
go. Yeah, I was just gonna talk about how interesting it is, the difference between different people's, I guess, like their disposition towards horror, or, I guess rather anything. But for this example, horror. Like my little brother, he's what is he? I don't know, 10, something around there. And like I show him the picture of Terrifier, and he like can't sleep. He has nightmares all night. He can't sleep. Can't go to sleep. He complains about it the next day. He's like, "Oh, it's so scary. I hate clowns." And me at, let me see, how old was I in 2nd grade?
7,
8,
8.
7 or 8.
I was you probably both.
Yeah, we were probably both 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 7. I was watching, all the Goosebumps shows. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was reading all the Goosebumps books. Not quite. That's more like 6th grade. But like, I get all those. I was probably watching something, and it's just, yeah.
What is this?
It's just really interesting how, even shared genes there,
Yeah.
like Levi's, you can't, it can't even have the same, disposition towards it. Dalton, we don't let him watch anything because he gets scared so easily.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to read a Goosebumps book and he would have like nightmares. I don't know. It's just I find that really interesting.
It is, isn't it? Like how, I don't know, like how we're quote unquote getting soft
Yeah, it is.
as society.
I think society as a whole is becoming
Right.
less and less. I don't know. Desensitized. I guess. Desensitized. I guess.
More
They're. It's like a cycle, you know. We became so desensitized, and now we're slightly becoming sensitized.
Yeah.
In a way. So, anyone else got anything else on Scariest before I move on here?
Kim.
For sure. Kim's up there.
Like, unironically, though.
Yeah, no, it's actually horrifying.
So's
Tyler?
Daddy.
I agree.
Just move on.
So's Dance with the Devil.
Oh, for sure. I completely forgot Dance with the Devil. That's up there.
Yo, that song is fucked up.
Anyone? We're moving on?
think so.
All right. You added this just now, so you're welcome. Worst. I'm going to say worst iconic horror films.
That was me.
No,
That was
Peter.
you. Sorry, my bad. I don't
That's
remember.
good.
I'm going to say worst iconic because if I say worst, we can just name off countless films no one's ever heard of or would ever watch. The Bye Bye Man.
The Bye Bye Man is an iconic film.
You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, I already mentioned
I
it,
think,
so no one else can now.
Saw.
We'll get to Saw.
I think
It's this whole topic.
What was it, like 15 Feet Deep, the movie where the two
God.
girls were trapped in
No,
the
15
pool?
meters.
In the pool?
Or
Oh.
15 feet.
No, 15 No, I know.
No, yeah, the
I know
42 meters, or
47
3,
meters
yeah,
down.
7 meters down was that shark movie,
Yeah.
and I thought that was like just whack.
Tyler, what are you doing?
It was like
Was it The Meg?
no, the Meg was just a masterpiece, but like 47 meters down was like okay, there was like a okay plot twist, and that was it, and I was like okay, it's alright. But
Yeah,
it
Yeah, she
wasn't
got like
that
stuck
great.
underneath of the cover of the pool or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
right?
of the cage,
That
yeah.
was dumb.
Oh, that one.
Or no,
I didn't see
yeah,
that.
and then there was
Just
was another thing where it was like 15 feet deep, and it was about two girls who were trapped in a public pool. Cause
Yeah,
there was
that's
this
what I was
that's what
talking
we're
about.
and
yeah.
it was, I was just like, that's super
What a
retarded.
what a weird
It's-
concept to make
yeah,
a
who-
movie
so-
Who was sitting there like, I like this?
about. Jim, I really like your
Yeah.
idea. Because we're so just out of ideas
Yeah,
that we'll just
I agree with
use
that.
anything.
Interesting, yeah. I think it's time to talk about Saw. Personally, I think Saw completely ruined horror as a genre.
What's that?
I gotta start from the beginning here. 1960, Alfred Hitchcock releases Psycho. 1972, 74, my bad. Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre come out. These three combined create our slasher genre, which changes the direction of horror. And then, late 70s you get Halloween, 80s you get Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all these nonsense ones that no one's ever heard of.
When was Texas Chainsaw made?
74, one of the first.
That's a slasher, I guess. It can be.
People call it the father of slashers, but I would definitely
No,
go
that's
with
Psycho.
I would go with Black Christmas personally. I think that's what did it. But so then, everyone gets tired of slashers. You hit your 90s and you get like Candyman and stuff, which is just so stupid and nonsensical that you're done. And then kind of mid-ish 90s, out comes Scream, which revives slashers by being meta about literally everything and cynical and satirical in like every way. And it's fantastic. And then
While
still
being scared.
that was like the arc of horror during that time. And then we hit this turning point here. 1990, we get the Blair Witch Project, which creates found footage essentially. And then 2004, I think we get Saw, which takes slasher and makes it into torture porn. And then we get just
Who doesn't
Garbage.
love that?
non-stop. So I think it's interesting how Saw and Blair Witch themselves, I would say, are fairly decent films, at least.
Did
But-
you say Saw?
The first one.
The first one, yeah. The seventh
make-
one's really funny
when
if
you
you
make-
watch it as a comedy, but
When you make like 7 of them, it's not funny anymore.
but what they created was just essentially the downfall of modern horror. Because we had this, this increasing arc from when it first starts to these two films that create two of the most hated subgenres of all time. And so that's what I have to say about Saw. The sequels are awful. The first one is meh, but it's interesting to see how it just completely changed where everything went. That's where you get your gore fest now instead of slasher films.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just a quick history lesson for you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks for that.
What other iconic films do we think are meh?
I don't know about.
You mentioned Paranormal Activity.
For sure.
I think that one's
I would
kinda
agree.
meh. That's me though. I think it's meh.
I would agree.
I don't know if Krampus is iconic, but I think it's pretty meh.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
wanted to say that.
yeah, I think going back to points that were made earlier, like we're running out of ideas. How many like cabin in the woods, like basically there's a house in the woods stuff we can come up with,
For sure,
am I
yeah.
right? And sure, they may all be like somewhat different, but essentially they're the same thing, right? Or how many like alien thriller movies can we make? All the Apollo
Yeah.
like movies or whatever. And then
Apollo was alien?
different ghost movies like
They
the
made-
Well, Apollo
Paranormal.
like 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then
No, I think it was 8.
yeah, but and
I
then
only knew
some of the
12.
some of the like demonic and spiritual things like The Witch, The Conjuring,
Exorcist.
Exorcist sort of thing,
Omen.
right? And I feel like they're just like reusing everything.
It does feel like that at times, for sure.
Mhm.
And interesting, the Cabin in the Woods thing. I don't know if Evil Dead started it, but I think it's one of the first to kind of do that. College kids go up to the cabin
Yeah,
and
Apollo 18.
something happens.
Have you guys seen Zombier?
Mm-mm.
Ew.
That's fucking stupid.
Sounds like it. And interesting. Okay, zombie.
It's like gore porn, basically.
Okay. How do we feel about zombie films? Because the history behind that's pretty interesting too.
They're overdone.
For sure.
Nowadays, at least.
What do we think the best one is?
Evil Dead.
Zombieland.
That's more demon than zombie.
Zombieland's pretty funny.
I think Brain Dead's
I'm
the
totally
best.
joking. No, it's just some freaking comedy.
Is Frankenstein a zombie?
It's still a zombie movie.
I think Brain Dead's the best. Still haven't seen Night of the Living Dead like George Romero original, so that might be.
Oh,
the
that's what
best.
I was. Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, you
Yeah,
want
that-
you want to know a horror film that I've wanted to watch?
Yeah.
Flatliners.
The original is interesting. The new one was stupid.
Who is it?
There you go.
No.
All right, that sums it up.
I think it's more interesting to read the plot summary than actually watch it.
Yeah. I feel like zombie movies kind of fit more into the post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic theme than horror nowadays.
At times, yeah.
I mean, if it's like more Frankenstein, like come back from the dead, and there's like the one instead of many,
Uh-huh.
then I feel like that could be more horror driven. Or if it was done in sort of a maybe first person view, like comes out of the dark and there's like a billion of them or something like that. But
Resident Evil.
yeah, something like Resident Evil.
Did you ever
Or, like,
see-
that's where video games sort of come in, because those can sometimes be scary, but if you're playing like Black Ops, it's just plain fun.
Yeah. Did you ever see 28 Days Later
I've heard
by
of it.
Danny Boyle? I was just wondering if you thought that was more horror or post-apocalyptic. Because it's post-apocalypse, but it's considered one of the greatest horror films of all time. I haven't seen it, but
I haven't either, but I've heard of it.
yeah. Alright, well, interesting. Any other icons that we snipe down? Snipe them.
That's a good question.
Even books too. Like, how would you say you feel about, say, Frankenstein, Dracula? I'm trying to think. What are
It's
Turn of the Screw?
I love Dracula.
Any of the H.P. Lovecraft stuff?
I forgot to talk about H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, I did too. I just remembered just now.
He writes some good stuff.
It's interesting for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really horrifying, but
Cosmic horror.
yeah.
So-
Cthulhu.
How do you feel about all those?
I feel like a lot of it has to do
That's a
with
good one.
the time they were written.
Yeah,
And
they're all very gothic.
Yeah, they are. And that was what was going around at the time. And it was, a big, I guess, trend or something. But it's not that, like, they weren't scary. It's just that, like, with the development of society and all the media and stuff, it's like, this isn't scary, it's more interesting
Yeah.
than scary. And that's how I felt, like, about Frankenstein, was basically, like, this is, like, interesting in what the message was, rather than it's like,
Yeah, what they called horror then is like
Very
fantasy now.
yeah.
Although Dracula
science
is still
fiction.
Dracula
very
is still
upsetting.
creepy.
Turn of the Screw is still very upsetting.
Just the idea of Dracula is like drinking blood.
And it's very interesting how all those kind of old books are very allegorical, or people observe them as very allegorical. Like Frankenstein is like, don't mess with nature or you'll get
God.
or you'll get messed
Exactly.
up. And Frankenstein represents like his inner demons and all that.
Yeah.
And like
And I like
Dracula.
No, the monster does.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, I said Frankenstein. Yeah, my bad.
Be politically correct.
And kind of how people have interpreted Dracula as being about gay people. How it's like they hide away, they drink blood.
What?
No, have you not heard this?
It's real.
No.
It's like an literary analysis of Dracula, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but it's also stupid.
Tyler, you'll like this. Turn of the Screw was written by Henry James. Do you know who his brother was? Because you should, from psychology.
Freud.
William James, who established the American Psychological
yeah.
Institute. But it's really interesting because that story is about someone going slowly crazy because they think they see ghosts.
Huh.
It's a good book. It's my favorite horror film of all time, in a sense. It's based on Turn of the Screw. So. Just saying.
That's neat.
No big deal.
Cool.
Yeah. I feel like that's a whole nother sort of genre too, is psychological based and mental illness based horror.
I feel like that can also be some of the scariest though. Like I still
Yeah.
haven't seen Silence of the Lambs or Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Because they're on my list. I'll get to them sometime.
Silence of the Lambs.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that film was really well done. It took like mental illness and sort of like fooled your expectations almost, and like because you'll just have to see it. But when Hannibal Lecter first appears, the way that he's built up and completely like revealed is so brilliantly well done, because it totally shatters your expectations. Because when the detective is going through the cells, in the first 3 cells, there's like these total madmen who are just like absolute crazed lunatics, and then Hannibal Lecter ends up being like a gentleman at first.
Yeah.
And then, there's this whole like different balance of power, and then throughout the story, going to get this like crazed like trans lunatic, and it's just was truly horrifying, like how something like that could have been done. But yeah, it had to deal with more psychological and mental illness and stuff, and definitely the idea of having the people who are the doctors and nurses also be insane in some plots is kind of an interesting thought. But
Psychosis is a creepypasta that does that really well. Just throwing that out there. So interesting question here. Which cannibalist portrayal did you think was more, I guess, scary? Hannibal Lecter or the Texas family?
Well, the Texas they're so different. The Texas family was just like outright were eating flesh, murdering people, and there was nothing wrong with that.
I just can't bring myself to do killing.
Right. And there was nothing wrong for that. Then they were
line.
just so like sick and invested in it, and that was their obsession. Whereas Hannibal Lecter was more of a deeper character and more of a interesting force than just like a crazy lunatic antagonist family.
Yeah.
He was like playing with the main detective's head like the whole time.
Yeah.
And he like was not what you would expect to be a crazy guy who eats people. And that's what made Hannibal scary was like who he was, whereas the family was just what they've done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And what they would be willing to do.
Right.
What they will do.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Yeah. All right. We'll move on here now. What are our choices for the best endings of horror
Saw 7.
or thriller? I'm throwing thriller in there
Okay.
too.
What?
Wait, what's up?
Best endings of
Best
horror
endings.
or thriller films, books. Again, not really music this time because it doesn't
How
quite
about
fit
that
in.
part where that guy gets trapped under a boulder and he has to basically just...
Oh, 24.
No, 127 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
127 hours.
That was rough.
That's not a... Well...
Yeah.
It is.
That's
It's
That's
a thriller.
It's
Yeah.
a thriller.
right. It is
He
a
said
thriller.
thrillers.
Yeah.
And honestly, like that's sort of a different type of horror. Just the fact
is.
that it's like it's a real thing and it's so disturbing and just like painful, makes you cringe.
It's the bamboos.
Instead of it's the bamboos instead of the like spooky.
Instead of the, why is my house slightly bigger on the inside?
Inside
Why does
than
this
the outside.
balloon blow the opposite way of the wind? Ugh. I don't like it.
Can I talk about a video game ending
Sure.
that's scary?
Hit
The ending of Dead Space was
The first one?
was really good. When he's sitting in the spaceship as he's flying away from the Ishimura, and he just turns over and his dead wife is there, and then she like jumps at him and it ends.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, he's
Dead
like
Space.
hallucinating that she's there.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
she's actually not. So.
Huh.
Yeah, it's good ending.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember Dead Space. I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember the end.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been years. That brings me back to like Dead Space and Infinity Blade. I don't know why,
Damn.
but I like associate those.
Infinity Blade.
You remember that? Oh my god, that's a
It's a
throwback.
throwback.
It's been a while.
God.
Anyone else? Because I'll talk for like years.
I love the ending of Psycho because
That's one I was about to forget. So
yeah,
good choice.
because like it doesn't leave you with like the plot is resolved and he's put away and everything's fine. You still feel like he is a threat even though he's inside a prison and the look of
couldn't even
his
hurt a
face.
little fly.
Right, and just the look of his face is like the most terrifying part of that movie, and then it leaves you not feeling super like disappointed. It's like, ooh, that was scary. Now I can leave the theater happy instead of just like, yeah, it was creepy, but
I love how no one remembers how the actual end of the film is when they pull the car out of the tar. Like that happens after.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just kind of interesting how no one ever
No one ever
remembers
cares.
that.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It's overshadowed by the
That's true.
scene before. Anything, Tyler? I guess your birthday party would kind of apply here, huh? Because that
Yeah.
was kind of the end.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I picture her as more of a little girl because like the narrator had a high pitched voice and it would be
I feel like that
even
makes it
more
worse.
yeah. It makes it even more creepy and worse if you have like a little girl like running around like
In hell.
in hell terrorizing demons and people alike.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Can we all just appreciate the end of Texas Chainsaw, though, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It's iconic.
That's
Alright.
pretty good.
Best endings, Under the Skin's got a really weird ending. I can't even explain it, but it's like really well shot, and it's a just cool, really cool shot. I don't have a list for this. I'm just looking through titles and seeing what comes to mind, Tyler. Okay, there's no list here. The Thing has one of the best horror endings of all time. When they come out of the snow after they blew it up, and you don't know if either of them
Yep.
is the creature,
Right.
and they just sit around that like camp and wait to freeze. That's pretty solid. I like that. Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh, that's a good one. Does anyone remember the end? Because I love the end of this
I
one.
don't I don't remember bits and pieces of Nightmares on Elm Street. The one being where a girl lifted up to the ceiling and just dragged around a bunch. And then the other is a guy, he had like something in his ears, and then Freddy would freaking do the nails on the chalkboard, and then his head exploded.
I don't know what Nightmare on Elm Street you were watching.
And then there was one more, it was like the video game.
The best one is when Johnny Depp gets sucked into his bed and they just shoot out like gallons of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the end, but
Oh.
yeah, I'll get there.
One more thing is like when like I don't know if it's a guy or girl sleeping in the bed, but like the face presses out
Yeah,
on the wall.
That's a good one.
I remember that.
But so that it ends with, it's kind of, you think it's a stupid ending because it ends with her going like, if I don't give you power over me,
Oh,
you
that
can't do
one.
anything. He goes like to attack her and then he like disappears. And she's like, I won. And then she gets in her car with friends and the top comes over and locks and they're like, what's going on? And they start driving away. And then you get the iconic, you know, the 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 whatever it goes. There's like girls jump roping. And she's looking back like, what the hell is going on? And the mom's waving, and then the window breaks, and Freddy just grabs her and rips her into the house. It's a good ending.
Oh, nice.
It's a solid ending. The Witch's ending was interesting. I don't know if it's the best, but we just...
I don't
It's
know, you just
sticking
see
with me because we just watched it,
Right.
but
a circle of naked girls
It was-
floating into oblivion.
it was bizarre. I'll give it that. It had me, like, confused, which might be good. I don't know.
I don't really find it
Well, I mean,
confusing.
I feel like it. I don't know.
I don't know either. Psycho, that was a good choice, yeah. Carnival of Souls, the ending to that film is very surreal and horrifying. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just really not like the ending, but like the climax ending. The ending I guessed from like the beginning, and I was like, wow, cool. But like the climax ending is weird.
The falling action.
It's uncomfortable, like weird. I'm trying to remember how like half these films end, honestly. I'm thinking real hard. Yeah, I think that's it off the top of my head for endings.
Alright.
Well, Friday the 13th is pretty iconic, so I gotta give it props with Jason coming out of the water, grabbing the boat. It's iconic. It's classic. Yeah. Alright, Tyler. You ready?
Nope.
What are your favorite creepypastas? You brought this up, so we're going.
I don't know. Like, there's a.
We're
I don't know
going.
if they're like creepy pastas, but they're like, I have a like bunch of creepy stories, like the German sleep experiment,
Russian. sleep.
Russian sleep experiment.
That's creepypasta.
Yeah, that's.
The rake.
Creepypasta.
I don't know. Like, there's more. There's more.
There's a lot.
There's so many.
There's some that are really bad.
Like what? Let's see if I like remember.
I don't remember them because they were really bad.
I try to block that out.
Pen Pal was originally a creepypasta. That's the best
I
one.
love Pen Pal.
Fight me.
It was good.
Used to just blast these all the time. It was good days.
I don't know.
Come on.
Oh, I don't know. You put me on the spot. Everything decides to jump ship.
Yep. That's what we're here for.
What's the question?
Best
Creepypastas.
creepypastas.
Ooh. Gateway to the Mines.
Oh, yeah. Totally forgot about that one.
What was that?
That's when they
It's when
they,
they put like clay over his face
and
after
they
they
ju- they
snipped
cut
his
off-
senses.
they cut off all his sensory feelers,
And
so
he,
he can't see, smell, taste, hear, feel.
Yeah,
Anything.
and he becomes like telepathic, and he can hear everyone's thoughts, and he can communicate with God, and then he wants to kill himself, so he like
The
shoves
Skittles
clay
one.
on his face.
Oh,
The
and
Skittles one.
And
What was the Skittles one?
the Russian sleep
Skittles.
experiment?
Yeah, Russian sleep experiment's pretty solid.
The Skittles one was like there are like 7 colors of the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
So they had like 6 test subjects, and each one would come in, eat a different Skittle, die puking their guts out,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
and
that
then
one.
the last person just
I
ate
don't-
them all, and they lived.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was basically it.
I'm gonna interrupt you here because I just remembered Nosferatu. By the way, not the film, the book by Joe Hill. Fantastic. All right, best of the Joe Hill books. I just forgot. All right,
Cool.
Thanks for that.
just had to throw that in real quick. But way better than Heart-Shaped Box and Horns. Be quiet.
Heart-shaped box by Nirvana.
By Joe Hill.
I'm talking about the song.
I'm talking about the book.
About the porn
I'm talking about pop music. Sorry.
and how bad it is.
Sorry.
Any more creepypastas that you can think of?
You got any?
No.
Because I'll remember some, I'm
Smile
sure. Smile. That's so stupid.
No, obey the night walrus or whatever.
Oh my god.
Oh.
The Night Walrus.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. That was so classic.
That's so funny, dude.
I can never find that. I
Yeah.
tried so hard to find that. Oh well. Psychosis was pretty solid.
Oh, 1999.
Ooh, that's a really good one. Yeah.
I feel like I remember that.
It's the one with the
Sounds
teddy
familiar.
bear TV
Mr.
show,
Bear.
Mr. Bear's like
Mhm. Yep.
Mr.
basement
Bear's
or whatever.
And she goes to find the old set. or
Mr. Bear's
whatever.
cellar.
Mm.
That was definitely one of the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there with Pen Pal, the best one, definitively. Please. All right. Anything got? Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone got anything else to contribute? Spooky related?
That's pretty much just what they said.
Boo. Just anything. Overall. Thriller.
That was it.
It's a fantastic, scary song.
MJ.
MJ.
Got it
Okay.
going.
Now, I want to ask if y'all have anything that. Actually, I want to ask Tyler's opinion on Texas Chainsaw. Because we heard like everyone else talk bits and pieces. So I'd like to know what you think.
About
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw.
about Ty.
What Tyler
Tyler
thought
The hands. I don't like the hands.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
No, what did you like it?
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was weird and confusing.
What was confusing?
Like, what? I mean, it was just
How could people
I don't
evolve
think-
into
no.
that?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like I understand like there's the horror logic going on,
For sure, yeah. There's definitely some of that. No denying.
but like I don't know. Like I did like it, but I was confused.
Would you agree with me and multiple other somewhat reliable sources that it's the scariest horror film of all time?
I don't know.
Of you've seen. Disturbing does equal scary. Just letting you know.
I don't know.
He doesn't know, guys.
I don't know.
Clearly.
I don't know.
I'll let that simmer. Now, everyone, what do we think of The Witch?
I thought it was good, except for one problem that I had with it. That being when whatever her name was, the girl's
Started with a
name.
T.
Yeah,
Thomason.
Thomason.
Tom.
Yeah,
Thomason.
Thomason. When she like overheard her and Caleb overheard
The
her
parents.
parents talking about sending her to one of the families to work for him.
Not work.
And
And
then-
then I think like married off or something.
I thought it would work.
I
Because
thought
she was
it-
like working for them,
yeah,
you know?
She said
I don't
work
know.
for him.
Oh, okay.
They said work.
And then Caleb decided to leave for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was.
I had no idea why.
I don't think
he
they ever-
decided to do that.
I don't
and
think
didn't
they explained it.
explain why.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
Strange.
Oh, that's a scary story.
We'll come
Well,
back. We'll come back when
No,
we're done
continue,
with this.
continue.
Yeah, but it was had some creepy parts. I thought it was kind of cool how the goat
Yeah.
turned everyone kind of against each other,
Yeah.
and
It's all the goats.
It's all the goat.
and I thought that was pretty unique too.
Yeah.
Like,
It's interesting.
that the goat was really the main.
He was kind of an interesting villain. Like when I saw him on the list, I was like, "What? That's stupid." What?
Yeah.
After watching it, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, he's kind of interesting."
Yeah,
Because it's
So-
really just Satan. Let's be honest.
it is. So that's what
Well, I
think.
mean, yeah, the horned beast.
Yeah.
Elijah, thoughts?
Come back to me.
All right.
Tyler first.
Tyler, thoughts?
I mean, yeah.
I thought the acting was good, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty
Like,
solid.
The guy that played Caleb, the kid that played him,
I thought he
was
did
pretty
well.
good.
I'm not good at like analyzing.
Oh,
Did
could
you
you
like
point
it?
out some forms of metonymy and litotes within the film?
Hello.
Did you like it or not?
Not really.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be something
Fair
you
enough.
enjoyed.
Well, I mean, it was interesting, and like, but like, yeah.
All right,
It's fair.
that's fair. Did you think about Texas yet?
About Texas?
Yeah. What'd you think of Texas? Have you decided?
No. Like,
Okay.
I don't.
Just say
It was
yes or no,
disturbing.
man.
It was disturbing, but I don't think it's the most disturbing.
All right.
What's more disturbing?
Film wise.
Film wise,
Yeah.
I don't know.
See,
Human Centipede was weird.
I think Human Centipede's stupid.
It probably
Yeah.
is, but like, I don't know. That just weirded me out a lot.
You got thoughts yet, or should we listen to Tyler's scary story that he remembered?
No, I got thoughts.
All right.
So
Several thoughts.
I think that they didn't read enough of the Bible, first off. Because, like, they had that whole section where they were talking about, like, oh, is our little baby going to be in heaven or hell?
Yeah,
And
that was
I
interesting.
You know, if in the Bible it says that, like, all children, because basically the age of accountability is, like, 12 or something.
Yeah,
It's, like, all children before that, because they
but they have to
don't
be baptized.
Well, we don't know if the kid was baptized
Yeah.
or not.
Well, he wasn't. They were talking about that. But, no, I'm pretty sure, like, baptized or not,
I don't think God cares
They,
if you're baptized. He's like, just come on in.
like, I think...
It says that somewhere. I don't
haven't
remember.
done
No,
anything
I
wrong.
think he like strongly recommends it
Yeah.
for all people, but
It's like the college essay, you know? It's strongly recommended.
Right, but I feel like it definitely says that with like children, I'm pretty sure like under the age of accountability, pretty much no matter what, they get into heaven just because they don't really know any better. They don't have that
Yeah.
consciousness to make those, you know, right and wrongful decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they were brought up in, like, super atheist family or, like, kidnapped by a witch or something, right? Because
Made
it's,
into
'cause
jelly.
it's, like, not their fault. They haven't really made any, like, core
Decision,
decisions,
yeah.
you'd think. And,
Not
you know,
my
but that
fault.
was
Cover
that was
choice.
just a choice they made to heighten drama, and that's fine.
Yeah, but you also gotta keep in mind that this is a kid asking it who maybe doesn't necessarily understand it.
Right, but
and this
the-
is like pilgrimage, so they're all obsessed with child death and stuff. So I don't know.
Right. And, you know, that's possible, but I'm just thinking, like, especially if they, you know, we're talking about Jesus and the New Testament, they must have had to have
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And then I felt like, and this is something that, you know, they just chose to do, which was have really no solid faith in the first place throughout, like, the entire family, really.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'll say my bedside prayers, but I have all these doubts because we just got banished, and then
Yeah.
everything is going wrong because of this one incident. And I feel like that's a real thing, actually, people doubting totally their faith after something goes wrong. and then that's not unnatural, but I feel like, it's not really something that promotes the faith, which is, what I personally would like to do, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want. It's not my film.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and then they have her like accept Satan at the end, and it's like, oh, that's
Strange,
a
yeah.
nice feeling for you, right? Just accept your sin, have fun being naked, whatever. So, I thought
Reminds me of
it was
Crucible.
a well done film, but it's not very uplifting at all.
Yeah.
Is
Very
it
drab.
supposed to be though?
Yeah, no, and that's fine.
All right, Tyler. What was the spooky thing you remembered?
The spooky thing that I remembered? No, this was good. I've listened to this story many times. It's titled Plot Holes. I don't remember who it's written by though. Classic me.
Yeah.
But
I'm tired.
it starts out with these two idiot high schoolers going to an abandoned house. One falls, they're on the top level, one falls through, dies. The other kid, he runs home, but the next day at school, he sees the kid there, alive. But he has this weird feeling, like I saw you die, you shouldn't be here. So he goes back to the house later, and he sees that everything is still there, and then at the very bottom, he sees the pile of rubble is still there. He sees something dash across, but then it's just suddenly gone. So, and then he starts noticing these slight variations, oh, that girl was wearing jeans 2 seconds ago, and now she's wearing a skirt, and all these different things.
His friend starts noticing?
No, himself. He doesn't say anything about his friend being dead or anything like that. But this starts happening, and he starts noticing more and more, and then he contacts I don't know if it said it or anything, but I imagine him to be his the mid-40s, an old mid-40s man. Because those two start corresponding about these things. I don't know if they gave them a name or anything, but they're there and they fix quote unquote plot holes, because they direct the fates of everyone.
Oh, that's
There's no free will really.
Insomnia?
But and eventually once you start to notice these beings, after a while, once you start to notice it enough, they'll get rid of you. And that's what happened to the 50-year-old man, or whatever I said. And he just disappears. He's gone. And everybody is completely fine with the fact of that. Nobody realizes it happened. It's a complete ignorance sort of thing. And eventually it goes on, and the same thing happens to him, and he's at the end it's you just found your first plot hole, because how else would you be talking to me? And it's super mind-blowing. It's just and then a few months later it's just was that tree always there? Because I could have swore it wasn't.
That actually sounds a lot like Insomnia.
Yeah. It really does.
By the way, Insomnia, fantastic. It's not, there's no weird sex scenes.
Yeah,
Stephen
thank
King.
God.
There's no weird.
But it's
sex
good.
scenes in
And
this.
you're what's going on? I think. Maybe there is. I don't remember.
Alrighty. Yeah, that was that.
That was that?
Yeah.
Alright.
Is it sleepy time?
Almost.
It's 2:30 in the goddamn morning.
We'll watch Bad Taste next time. I forgot. Nosferatu, read it.
Read it?
And we
Not you, but
Read
it's
it.
just
Read it.
you could. It's
Lick it.
fantastic, but
read it and weep, y'all.
next month is the Criterion Collection sale.
Oh,
I'm real hyped. I think that's it. All right,
Sweet.
Alrighty.
that's it.
Signing off.
Seinfeld.
Peace out.